Sorry about that. I've had such incredible friends come on today, and we're blowing it up. Too much energy onto Instagram Live, and it's freezing us over. Thank you, everybody, coming back again. The unbelievable Ming Tsai telling about the food pantry that Maker's Mark and he have generated to help our social economically challenged people. It's always the ball will find the weakest players and the ones in most need. So we got to make sure that we protect and block for them. You know what I mean? Um, so let's go ahead and pin up people like this for Friday's training. We're going to learn about the ego while we're waiting for Ming Sai to come back on. 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern. We're trying to give as many playbooks of anyone that can help out with these food pantries as well. And it's great to learn as we go here. Let me get Ming. He's right there. All righty. All right. We're joining Jeffrey. I see you there. All right. Let me grab you, Ming. He obviously is taking a big hit. He is most concerned about other people. And we're going to get back
I
in.
am back.
All right. I was just saying, my
I'm not sure what happened there.
Yeah, we're too much energy.
Yeah, possibly. So anyway, like I was saying, so we're very proud. We're feeding about 300 restaurant employees a day. People can either come to Blue Dragon, but we actually partnered with Jamaica Me Hungry food truck because all the employees that live in East Boston and Chelsea honestly are too scared to ride the T or take an Uber, rightfully so. So we're bringing the food to them. And it's not just food. The Lead Initiative really thought it through. We have tons of toiletries as well, sanitizer and diapers and formula. And, one of the things I love that we're giving a pound of raw rice and dried beans. Because if you're Chinese or Asian or you're Latino, there's nothing more comforting in bringing normalcy back to your home than actually making a pot of rice or rice and beans. And that's what we're trying to do because we're trying to provide a ray of hope. I mean, these poor people, and we're not just talking about immigrants. Americans that just don't have a paycheck, yes, they're getting a good unemployment, and yes, they're getting the extra 600. That's great, but then what happens after 8 weeks? Because you don't know, unfortunately, I don't know, is COVID going to stop in 8 weeks just like that? I don't think so. I don't think that's how science works, right? And so what can we do? And I've been saying this since day one. Right now, there's 3 types of people in this world. Forget skin color, religious belief, political belief, sexual preference. There's 3 types of people. You're either healthy, infected, or dying. That's it. In the entire world, there's only 3 types of people now. So if you know that, you have to take care of the person on your right and your left. You have to be kind because if you're not, COVID wins, period. And you are, and I am, definitely in a better place than some people. So if you happen to be in that position, it is your responsibility to help the people that need the help. And so many people need help right now. It's unfathomable what's going on. And we haven't even touched the iceberg of this economic challenge we're going to have. Restaurants in particular, service industry in particular. I've been having these conversations with all my chef friends. What are restaurants? Restaurants are places of gathering, period. So therein lies the inherent problem of successful restaurants breaking even or making a profit if you can't even gather yet. And that's what we're struggling through. Because even though we get the loan and this and that, it doesn't matter if people can't gather. If you can't gather, you've been to my bar. If you can't gather 2 or 3 deep at my bar and have a cocktail waiting for a table, and that's not allowed, that restaurant's not going to make it 2 months. There's no way. Booze is part of the reason people come because it's part of the social fabric, but it's not I don't care if you drink or not. It's the act of gathering with your friends, 5 and 6 people together that we so miss, right? I miss hugging you. We should be at the Masters, hugging it out, having a cigar, all the things that we should be doing. And we're not. We're thinking about it, but the people that are really suffering are the ones that just don't have anywhere else to turn to. And we've run out of money. If I could give $20,000 to each one of my employees, then I think they'd be fine. I could get through it. I don't have that capacity, unfortunately, right? And a lot of people don't either. They claim that 75% of all mom and pops are not going to make it in this country. Think about that. Think about the number of restaurants in New York City alone that are going to go down. The Chinese restaurants, already 50% of Chinese restaurants are gone. I mean, that xenophobia is crazy, right? I mean, my English is very good. I'm Chinese American, right? I've had people not say anything to me, but I've definitely had people avoid me in the grocery store. They see a 6-foot Chinese guy, they beeline. I'm like, dude, I feel like Moses. I'm just walking down the aisle and everyone's
It's
clear.
so good.
Like, that's good by me. Yeah. So, hey, I made you a graph, Dave.
Cool.
So this is very simply happiness and kindness. And you can see in March, if you're kind, you're going to be that happy. And then if you're kinder in April, you'll be that happy. Then May, then June, and we finish with July. That is a very linear relationship between the happiness of yourself, your family, because you have to take care of yourself first, right? You have to be happy. And I so agree about nutrition, right? What you guys are talking about. You definitely are what you eat, right? You are what you eat. And you see all the funny things in the beginning of the quarantine and people are 50 pounds heavier. It should be the opposite. We have so much more time now. You can actually take your time and cook and get those great vegetables that usually take a long time to cook, the beets and the rutabagas and the kohlrabis. You have the time. Braise them, roast them, eat them. Use meat or seafood as flavoring, but veg-based. Everyone, pre-COVID, after COVID, they say the most important thing is eat as many green leafy vegetables as possible, whole grains as possible. Protein's fine, but full ribeyes 4 times a week, probably not so good. And by the way, person upstairs has taken care of that, right? Took care of the Brazilian brothers, and so meat production is so done. And
yeah,
and this is now coming. I mean, you're the pro at this. You talk about the bright light, or about what's the lesson here, or what's the positivity here? Well, one, family time. It's been awesome with my 2 boys and wife. That's just been incredible. A chef friend of mine, Bo Mack, said, "We will never get this time back," and that's right. When can any normal father say, "Hey, we're going to take 6 weeks and sit in a house together"? All right, you're going to love
yeah,
it.
Right.
There's no
Especially
teenager in the
dads
world
like
going, "That
us.
sounds like a good idea, Dad." No, hell no. But this was forced on us. So to the best you can, take advantage of it, right? I mean, you're never going to get this age and this time together, and that's been a huge positive. The world is thanking us right now, right? The people in Beijing and Shanghai have not seen stars for over 20 years, ever, because of the pollution. Think about that. There is a television screen on Tiananmen Square. It's one of the largest flat screens in the world. It's still there, and that played live video of the sunset and the sunrise, because otherwise people in Beijing would never see a sunset or sunrise. Think about that they actually have this is a solution. Instead of working on the pollution, let's just build a TV screen. So I think hopefully, I'm really hoping like the Chinese are like, hey, I like this fresh air sunshine thing, right? And just maybe they won't bring back 100% of their, factories and whatnot. Maybe they'll bring 75% back. The world needed a break. So obviously the unfunny joke from upstairs is like, okay, you guys have really abused my planet and you're abusing each other horribly. The divisiveness, not only amongst Republican and Democrat, but amongst the world is just out of hand. You can mention any country, Saudi Arabia, it doesn't matter. Name any country, there's been just huge turmoil. And we're hitting a pause. This is a very big pause. And it sucks. There's no way else to say it. Right? It just sucks. And, but like I said, with the 3 types of people left in this world, we have to, we're Homo sapiens, we're humans. We will come together because we have no choice. And Darwin is right. The fittest will survive, but it's all about how can I sit back, accept what the situation is. I can't fight this. I can't fight COVID, right? I'm not going to be like, oh, COVID doesn't exist. You can't do that. You really have to believe science. That's why we went to school, right? That's why there's gravity. It's going, right? I mean, science is science, right? So you have to believe the science. To dispute the science when everyone says it's going to be this is just darn right foolish, right? There's graphs and there's reason things go like this. So if all the other countries go like this, we're going to go like this, right? So assuming you believe in science. And by the way, I don't fault the people that have no money and want to get back to work. That is a natural instinct, right? If you have no money left and you have 2 kids to feed, I can't be on a pedestal there. You got to stay at home. I mean, if they have no money and their kids are starving, you're going to do what you need to do. And you can't be like, you can't do that. Well, you're not in their shoes. So to judge someone else, like, I can't believe you're doing that and you're sitting in your house, that's not fair either, right? So instead of
it's like telling a lion that's starving, don't eat the zebra.
Yeah. Exactly, exactly. So the question should be, what can I do to help them? That's the question. How can I help their situation? And believe you me, you know me, Dave, the more you help, the better I feel. There's another graph I could do, but
Yeah.
I mean, if something gives me something, I feel pretty good. If I give something, I feel 10 times better, right?
Yeah.
Giving
There's
a
this,
bag of hope, there's nothing like that. There really isn't.
and you'll feel better. I say that happiness is the greatest disease, right? We can actually spread it by witnessing it, and it strengthens your immune system. So your
Yeah.
chart's so relevant to me. It's interesting because, I do have a brand for recovery since, I'm one of those guys that have gone up and down, lost everything, and come back with a different attitude and perspective. And people ask me, how'd you do it? And if I could tell them the truth, and I'm going to tell you what I would say and have you interpret it so that more people would understand what I'm saying. I always tell people, if you truly want to make a recovery, if you want to be greater and expand and accelerate, then give your life away, right? Give your life away. And remember, you can't give what you don't have. How would you interpret it, what I said? Because I know you have such a great perspective and knowledge kind of what that means.
Yeah, I mean, I know your story. You had your last $20, right? And
Yeah.
you gave it away, which was a very foolish economic decision for yourself because that was your entire net worth. But look what it did. And I mean, I so agree with that. I mean, the way I interpret that is I was put on this planet for a reason. We all were, right? This is, and I've told my kids this is there is no free ride here, guys. If you have, and my kids have had it all. They've had food and shelter and love, and they've never had real conflicts like a lot of people do in the household or outside the household. I mean, even growing up, when I grew up in Dayton, Ohio, I actually had very little of any racist taunts towards me. My brother and I were the only two Chinese in the class, and since we were decent athletes, they couldn't make fun of us. Just because we could do the times table in our head, they still couldn't make fun of us because we were good athletes. So, but I think the reason I was put on this planet is how can I serve, right? And that's not something that just says cliche or altruistic. That is in my DNA, right? Hospitality professionals, all of us, restaurateurs and chefs, we are there to provide. We are there to ideally make people happy through food, ambience, experience, and wine, and that's what's called a restaurant, right? And there's of course events as well, but that is has always been our primary goal, and it's figurative and literal, right? We are feeding the soul, right? And so when I'm giving food to someone that is in need, I am feeding my soul. I'm having a full buffet, right? I mean, it's just that feeling you've had it so many times too, David. That literally warms your heart and fills it with energy that will last forever. My heart's never going to perish, right? Even when I go up to heaven, this huge heart is staying somewhere around here, right? That I know. So I'm the one, and I say this all the time, like with Family Reach, right? My charity, we financially help families with cancer. And I probably have raised over $7 million for you guys over 10 years. It's an amazing organization. Can you imagine having a child with cancer now during COVID? I mean, talk about the challenges. It's unbelievable. It's already been, bluntly, the poorer you are, the less chance you'll have to survive cancer. Well, now cancer plus COVID, I mean, it's unbelievable. So we're doing everything. By the way, May 24th, I'll send you some information. We're doing a huge chef-a-thon live on Instagram. I got Guy Fieri, I got Reese Witherspoon, I got some really cool people that are going to cook with me
Nice.
live. It's going to be really fun. I'll send you information on that. A big fundraiser too for Family Reach, so that I'm looking forward to. So
I'm all in.
So like doing that chef-a-thon to me is going to be hopefully my biggest triumph during COVID, right? Hopefully bring awareness. What's the problem with cancer during COVID? And then the financial toxicity that happens regardless of COVID, there's already there, but now with COVID it's times 10. And the fact that we can spread that awareness and raise money for these families, that completes my day, my week, my year. That makes, for me, what I'm doing here, it makes me fulfilled because I'm doing as much as I possibly can, even though we're all separated and doing more Zoom calls than I could ever want. I love the first 2 weeks of Zoom calls. This is great. By week 5, you're like, oh, can we go back to rotary dial phones, please? I mean,
I'm in a closet, man. So I get you, but I'm doing everything I can. But the advantage is I have not spent this much time with you since I came to the restaurant, and just I feel, although there's thousands of people that have been watching this, and there'll be even more when they record it and post it, but I just feel like I haven't had this one-on-one time for a while, and It's really beautiful, and I appreciate you and what you do for everyone. And I will be the first one lining up to help with your charity on May 24th for the
Yes, sir.
Chef-a-thon. And if you
Yep.
need other famous chefs, I'll bend over backwards to get my network there as well. And anything I can do for you. I will tell you, if anyone's going to feed you in the world, this is the guy. And he has an incredible history and incredible talent, and he has an incredible heart. Thank you, Ming, so much. I look forward to talking with you.
Dude, thank you. Listen, appreciate it. And remember, always have your Buddha handy. Always
Oh, I
have your
got
Buddha
him right
handy.
behind.
Mine's blue. Mine's blue.
I'm the ferocious Buddha. I'm a
I
fighting
know.
Buddha.
I know. Mine's a little smaller than yours, Dave, but that's okay. It's powerful.
Size doesn't matter. Just ask my wife.
All right,
Thank
man.
you.
Look, please stay safe. All right. Best to your
You
wife.
too. Stay
All
healthy.
right.
Bless your family. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll do. All right, man. Peace.
Oh my God. What a great day. What a great person. Wow, I got tears in my eyes just hanging out with my old friends. And let's go ahead and grab my boy Kev. I see you there. Thank you for your patience as well. Maybe I can post up real quick, Kev, our training on Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's my pantry. That's my free training for everyone on Fridays. This is Kevin. What's up, my brother? How are you?
How's it going, David? Really appreciate you having me on today.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm such a fantasy guy, such a sports guy, and I haven't had too many since the draft. Too many people to give me some insight on what the heck's going on with no sports and with the no gathering rule. And I'm not the only one with the perspective, so I'd love to get your perspective. Coming from the fantasy side of things, of where this slow maturation of gathering, how it's going to finally allow us to watch our favorite thing, which is sports.
Sure, sure. No, it's definitely challenging times for all sports companies, and specifically with fantasy sports. You're seeing most fantasy sports companies transition into esports, actually. So with that, and some simulated video games sports as well. But I think mainly we're all kind of waiting on pins and needles for regular, for at least sports without fans to come back. Hopefully mid-May. MLB was targeting a return date. NBA is allowed to open their practice facilities where states have eased the quarantine. So hopefully we're back to normal soon. Hopefully very soon. But no, I'd just love to give you some background on the company, and then
Yeah.
maybe get
Well, there's going to
your
be such
advice
a
on.
pent up interest. I'm like, gambling and fantasy to me. I can't
Oh,
wait to
for
see
sure.
how many people are going to pour in, because I'm a big fantasy person, not a huge gambler anymore, but
Sure.
like I'm dying for my NFL draft. I'm dying like for my
Oh,
baseball,
definitely.
and I got so much going on. And I was like, he's 10 now. My son and I do it together. So as you know, fantasy means so much more, just like sports do. It's every generation, the girls and the boys. It's a great equalizer. So, I know you have your business. Give us a little background on what's going to be happening and how we're going to deal with it.
For sure. And there's traditional sports betting, which is kind of just a straight up, if you want to bet on the New England Patriots versus the Rams, then you have daily fantasy sports, which is more of a game of skill, where it's managing a roster. And now there's different types of contests like No House Advantage is doing. And then you kind of have your season long fantasy, which is more about what you're talking about, what you can do with friends or whatever it may be. So in any event, No House Advantage is a daily fantasy sports company that I founded during while I was getting my MBA at USC out in LA, actually. We offer player prop contests where users make picks and then rank their picks based on their confidence. This is how we differentiate from some of the major players like a FanDuel or a DraftKings, if you're familiar with them. We've seen really solid growth over the last 6 months, specifically over NFL and NBA. So really exciting. Our users have increased. Our prize pools are increasing pretty rapidly. Obviously, with the COVID-19, we've kind of had to pivot into esports, and we're doing some back-end updates, and we're working on getting licenses. So it's trying to stay productive, which I think is what you're seeing across the market for most of these companies, just improving their product offering, kind of just waiting for it to come back. Along the way, we've made some mistakes. We've learned a lot. So just wanted to get your advice on some of the pain points that we've had. The first one is really across messaging and branding. like I had said before, this was a product that I came up with. It doesn't necessarily exist on the market, the type of contest that we run. So we've had some difficulty getting that messaging across to our end user, or our target market, exactly what it is that we do, how we're different. So just wanted to see if you can speak to maybe just generally or specific to
Yeah,
us, kind of marketing and branding, messaging,
thank you. Great
for
question.
for yeah.
So, Kev, it's very common when we do something better, right? And your business is a better business. It's an innovation in betterness. And so when we're branding, we have to know, number one, the basics of branding messaging is consistency of quality content. Consistency. And one of the other aspects of it is to take our emotions out of the end outcome. When we talk about segmentation, acceleration, and exponential growth, even in business, you don't see your company growing because it grows so slow at first, but it
100%.
accelerates and it grows. And I stick by my percentages. When your company's 25% of the way there, 99% of the people quit. And half as much time on average, you'll be 50% of the way there, and the 99 of the 1% will quit. And in half as much time, the saddest thing is you'll be 100% of the way there. Then in half as much, 200, half as much, 400, 800% of the way there. When you're in the betterment business like you are, what you need to message consistently is making yourself equal first. So if you understand alignment, action, and adjustment, the way that the mind and perception in marketing works is familiarity allows you to leverage all the money FanDuel, all the money that DraftKings, all the money that all these other companies have spent on marketing, and you get to
Yeah.
leverage that. That's the advantage of being a small company that's better. And that's why companies get absorbed or market, in M&A deals, because the big companies, it's way cheaper just to allow people like you to innovate the better,
Yep.
and then educate the better. And then once there's a little bit of traction, they just go ahead and put it into their machine. But you have to prove that model. So the way that we
Exactly.
do that is make yourself equal first, then distinguish yourself with a margin, a delta of value. So
For sure.
the 5 components of value, real quickly. Number one, credibility. So you want it to be credible, leveraging all the aspects of what everyone else has done, anything about you, get an MBA at USC, or there's all these components of credibility. And most importantly, the truth is credible. So make sure we're not overselling, back end selling, line manipulating, or cheating in the differences.
For sure.
2, the key in your business is that betterment is the emotional attachment. Really focus in on, hey, we got all of this in here. Now here's the emotional, that it's a customized personalization. You get to vote and rank and whatever. That emotional attachment has to be in the messaging every single time. And then you can quantify the reasons, impacts, and capabilities with the winnings, features, and benefits. Those will usually just confuse and interfere with what you're trying to do.
Which is
But
what
if
we
you stick,
found.
yeah, if you
Yeah.
stick to the first 3 where, hey, here's how we're equal and here's the delta, and build that business. And look, I segment things to 20, right? And it's just a really good thing to segment things to 20. And then I apply time and never apply my emotions to the 20th. Meaning I'll be happy when I get to the 20th segment, but go ahead and do the math. Even with, if with revenue, for example, if in year 1, go ahead and take $2 of revenue and keep doubling it 20 times and see where you are in 20 segments. And so if in year 1 you get $2 and 11 months later 4, 10 months later 8, and you keep doing it, you'll be one of the most successful businesses in 20 segments. Most people don't have the patience. They don't enjoy the consistent, persistent pursuit of the 20 segments. They can't. And the truth is, it happens a lot. You'll make more than $2 in a year. So,
For sure.
but when you detach your emotions from the outcome, it goes faster. When you attach your emotions to the outcome, it goes slower. And that's just a matter of relativity and perception, right? It always takes faster to get home because you already know where you're going. When you don't know where you're going, it always takes longer,
Agreed.
and there's a bunch of, tests on perception. So, be consistent, quality content that makes yourself equal, then creates a delta on the credibility, emotional attachment, and quantitative reasons, impacts, and capabilities you have. Stay away from the overall impact and features and benefits. You'll confuse the market. Remember, you want a strong signal, know your spectrum of who's going to like this, and a clear
For sure.
message, and you will exponentially grow. I appreciate your time, man. Thank you for your patience and waiting to ask me that question. I certainly appreciate it.
Not a problem. Thank you so much, David. We'll definitely keep that advice, and we'll keep pushing. No, very
Well, join
exciting.
me on Fridays. Get your whole team. It's a free training for companies, for individuals. 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern time. Every Friday, free training. This one will really help you as well. It's on ego. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Awesome. We'll be there. Thank you so much, David.
Awesome, Kev. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye. Yep.
No House Advantage. Another great improvement upon a great business there. We'll get Team Meltzer. We are having a great day. What great guests. Thank you, everyone, for your patience as we had to log in twice. I'm going to take one last question before 9 o'clock and get going here. And here we go. What's your biggest tip on keeping a daily routine? Have 2 routines. So have a daily routine that you try your best to stay at. But when things get too crazy, when things change too quickly, when compressed uncertainty rears its ugly head at you, have a modified or an adaptable routine, one which is based off of your values, taking inventory of your personal experiential giving and receiving values. My adaptable routine is always a minimum of an hour a day on my health, a minimum of 30 minutes with my wife, a minimum of 30 minutes with my 10-year-old son, a minimum of 2 minutes a day with each of my teenage daughters, and a minimum of 1 minute a day with my mom, to make sure I tell her I'm healthy, I'm happy, I appreciate her, and I love her. The 4 things I want to hear from my kids if they're listening. Please let your daddy know you're happy, healthy, you love me and appreciate me, even though we're a couple doors down the hall from each other, as I lock myself in the closet, studio, guest room, sitting area, desk, and whatever else this room that I'm stuck in is. Anyway, thank you to Prince EA. Thank you to Ming, Tsai. Thank you to Kevin at No House. Thank you to everyone, Jesse, Jeremy, Joseph, Justin, all the J's, and Jakey Bakey. We are going to have an extraordinary day tomorrow, Samir as well. Please join me on Friday. Free training. Invite your friends, your business. It's it's what I can do. It's my pantry. It's the Dave Meltzer pantry for you. And it's free, and I am there to answer Q&A. Going to talk about ego and making sure you're in the flow to make the dough, make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. This is David Meltzer. Be kind to your future self and do good deeds.